Hi, everybody. Welcome. Yeah, I was fixing some stuff because I just got back from judo from my sport, so I'm able to stream this, but it's just gonna be a bit more improvised because I just got home. Hold on. I need to connect my screen where I'm watching this on. So yeah, Ariane 5 today. It's gonna be exciting if it launches. I think the Ariane 5 is always exciting. I hope the audio is good. I do have food here, so I'm gonna eat, but don't mind me. Why doesn't it have connection? Okay, hold up. I will reload this. There's 5 of you. Hello, welcome. Hi, hi. Okay, now I do have chat. Hi. So yeah, need to probably grab my headphones, but knowing me, they're downstairs, so watch my beautiful space decorated room. I'll be back in a sec. Yes, there we go. Otherwise, you're gonna have looping audio, which sucks. So let me just connect my headphones. Yes. Come on, power on. I know you can do it. Plug out. No. Audio is fine. Yeah, okay. I won't talk with my mouth full. I have tiramisu, so. Let's see. Hello. Are you working? This is the German Coast Guard. What are you thinking about? Haha. I find that meme quite funny. I don't know. It was like learn more English. It was a campaign for something. It's really funny. It was sorry if we hear the audio bleep. I can't hear any audio. Yeah, there we go. That. Now I need to go back to my streaming software. Normally I would have set this up already, but yeah, well. Here we go. We're still live. Yes, okay. Ariane 5. Today, oh god, I forgot my phone to take my important launch data up here. Anyway, we'll have a flight of around 25 minutes. 2 minutes. Well, the first important thing that happens is, of course, booster, or actually engine ignition, which happens at T0. Then at T plus 7 seconds, we have liftoff. Then we have 2 minutes and 20 seconds into flight, because you have to subtract 7 seconds from the engine ignition till liftoff. But well, so at T plus 2 minutes 20 seconds, we'll have booster separation. So roughly, and roughly 3.5 minutes into flight, we'll have fairing separation, and 8 minutes and 50 seconds, roughly 53, I think it was. We're gonna have first stage shutdown and stage separation. Then the second stage takes over till 25 minutes, so that's gonna burn for roughly 16 minutes. And then we'll have a 2-minute coast phase. We'll have the upper passenger separate. Then we'll have a short coast period between that. Then we'll have the sildas separate between, so the coast face between the first passenger separating and the sildas separating. Then it will rotate a different way, spin it up, and then we'll have the second passenger separated, separating, and then we'll hopefully have a successful mission. I'm still watching the cross and beeps, so that's not live yet. And in the meantime, we'll have the the CRS-19 booster is doing its it's doing the static fire, but looking at it, it looks like a cleaned up sooty booster, but they said it was a new booster. So today we have 2 satellites on board, 2 communication satellites, of course, going to yeah, sorry, I don't talk. Sorry, I will just keep it to the side until they start talking. So again, 2 communication satellites. One is going to be over Africa, I believe, and the other one is going to be, I'm going to spy on what Ariane group is twittering, but it's going to be above Africa, hanging above Africa, and it's going to broadcast to Europe, Middle East, and East Asia, Middle East and Asia. So that's the Inmarsat GX5, and yeah, we have another launch day. So I think the Ariane 5 is special because it does have the shortest flight time to GTO from any heavy lifter, I think, because the GSLV takes some time to get there. They have to cross the equator, and they burn in one go. But I think their mission time is slightly longer than Arianespace ones, because the rocket is so close to the equator they can just power on, whereas from the Cape they have to do a coast phase because they just can't get there in one burn. And yeah, just watching the Soyuz promo videos thingy. I hope it has good quality. Let me see. It holds up. Oh, that's why. I have my own little mini video player watching in the background. So yeah. So how is everybody? This launch has been delayed quite a long time. So yeah. Oh, there we go. I think. Maybe. Let's watch this. I'm gonna switch it over. Oh no. Are you kidding me? Hold. Oh. Captured this. Okay. Do I need to delete this before? No, it wasn't the hold. It was my hold. But yeah, well, it doesn't work, so that's why I said hold. This launch is still going, but I need to hit more buttons. Delete this. Yes, delete. OBS is such a pain in the ass sometimes. Window captured. Yes. At existing window capture. Yes. Whoa, and you're still not working. Why aren't you working? Does this work? No, it doesn't. Why should it? Don't mind me talking to myself and actually to people. And if you're watching why I'm not looking straight at the camera, normally my edit screen would be here / my watch screen, but well, my laptop is here. I need a second screen for my PC. I know I still haven't bought it, but yeah, well, I like doing space projects, so that's where all my money goes. And the foam board, but Simon already knows what it is for, so. But you guessed the wrong thing on Twitter. I just saw it. Display capture, yes. That's what I need. At existing. Hippity hoppity. Display 1. Cancel. Gosh. Zeg niet. Why doesn't this work? Oh, that was deliberate. Okay, well, you know what it is. Come on. Why did this work earlier and it doesn't work right now? I'll just delete this. And delete this. Yes, I want to delete this. Now I add a new display capture. What? Why aren't you working? And why does it only capture? Okay, disconnect this. Reconnect this. Didn't go to good old reboot this. Okay. Display capture. Hippity hoppity. This is my property. Okay, hold on. There we go.
We will discover the launcher on its launch pad and it's stable, 53 meters high. It's waiting in silence, but when the engine starts roaring, they will roar for good.
Sorry, that was slightly offline for short time.
The fairing below which we have at the top.
Yep, I did the good old
satellite 5,000.
Switch it off, switch it on trick.
Below which we have Inmarsat GX5 just below 4,000 kilos, and immediately we go to the Jupiter Control Center with Katie as well, with her guests.
Thanks indeed, Claude. Yes, I'm in the Jupiter Control Center, and we are celebrating the 40th year of the Ariane launcher. It first lifted off on Christmas Eve 1979, and here we are 40 years later launching the 250th Ariane.
This is working. Katie, yeah, sorry. I can't do anything about it.
Stefan is with me now. Stefan, thanks for joining me here on the
We're
floor.
back up, so.
So the 250th Ariane today is the 8th flight here from the Guyana Space Center this year. So what's special about today's launch?
In fact, you have a little bit said it. It is the 250th Ariane tonight. We celebrate a birthday which has started now almost 40 years ago. It was for Christmas, 24 December 1979, and it has been a huge success story, and we are very happy today to celebrate it with two key customers, Egypt, for which we are going
I can bump up the audio a tiny bit.
In a consortium whose responsibility is made of Airbus and Thales Alenia Space.
Yeah.
And
I think that's good, because if I move closer.
The 10th satellite we orbit for Inmarsat, so we are very proud to deliver for Egypt and Inmarsat tonight.
And we are 17 minutes to launch right now.
Yeah.
What's happening and what's going to happen?
Yes, so the day went very
Excellent
smoothly.
connection.
We have made
Wow.
all the operations
you,
linked to the
YouTube.
final countdown. And a few minutes before the launch, we will have the latest news from the weather. So either it will be okay, or we have a long launch window of 1 hour and 45 minutes. So we will wait for this latest information. Then at H0 plus 7 seconds, the launcher will lift off at the ignition of the solid boosters. The launch will last 34 minutes. We will separate on an elliptical orbit inclined as at 5 degrees as opposed to the equatorial plane. We will separate first TIBA-1 after 27 minutes and after GX5 after 34 minutes.
Stefan, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
So Stefan's going to take his seat now back in the fishbowl. That's the glass that you can see there behind us here in the Mission Control Center. There are a number of different teams working here in the fishbowl. Each of those teams has its own desk, and this is the team who are doing the flight directorate, the team who take all the final decisions in the event of
I love you.
unplanned
What? Okay,
situations.
thanks.
And it's headed up by Stefan Israel. And the glass is actually very special reinforced glass.
Say my
You
name.
can't actually hear people through it.
It's
So
Maruel
on that glass, you can't actually hear
Esdras?
what people are
Would
saying.
it be in
and it's
English?
there especially to protect
Maruel
those teams who are
Esdras.
inside.
Okay.
Now,
Hi.
we're going to
You're
go
welcome.
to Claude, who's out there on the terrace outside the Jupiter Control Center. Over to you, Claude.
As Stefan Israel
Full
just
screen.
said,
Haha,
we're
wait.
here for the 250th Ariane launch, but also for the 40th anniversary of this Ariane launcher. Therefore, in 1 minute, I propose we follow
Okay,
the
3,
history
2,
of
1.
Ariane.
Ah, shit. Do it again. 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Freak magic! Okay. I don't want to get. I would have. Top. Décollage.
Allumage, premier étage.
Oh, you're from Brazil. Cool.
3, 2, 1, feu, décollage. All boosters on.
I like the Ariane 4, but because of the shape. But the Ariane 5 is just Brazil. La 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 la. I've never been to Brazil, but I would like to go one time.
And next to me is Etienne Sonron, an engineer at Ariane Space. Etienne, you're 24 years old. Why did you choose this job, and what is your function at Ariane Space?
Ce métier, d'abord, c'est une passion, c'est l'espace. Et on veut s'approcher.
It's a true passion, a passion for space. We really want to touch it, and if you want to get as close to it as possible, it's by getting as close as possible to the rocket, which is why I found my way into Arianespace, and I'm in charge of the qualification of satellites to the environment of the...
Thank you. I propose we follow a recording of Lisbeth Sen and Guido telling us about
Say
the
my name.
first launch.
I already said it.
Bonjour, j'ai la chance aujourd'hui.
Hello, I'm very happy to have next to me Mr. Guy Dubois, who was in charge of the launch vehicle and attended the very first launch in December 1979. Tell us how it came to life.
1979.
Well, the birth started very easily, and then it was a little bit tougher. It was the LO1 campaign after a number of trials, and particularly a fuel mock-up that allowed us to define the core operations for L01
I have 10
in
years.
a mere
Like,
54 days.
You are 10
And it
years
ended with a final countdown. There's ignition, we clap like madmen. We were really happy, that is what we wanted to see. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds, and the engine switches off. And there, we were dumbfounded. And it took us a few seconds to try and shout out that we needed to get a grip of ourselves.
And what was it like inside the launch centre, which was 250 metres from the vehicle? Unthinkable today.
Well, the conditions were pretty special, because we thought that we would come out of the CDL bunker a few hours after the launch, and we'd locked it up 3 hours before. And we were supposed to be able to stay there for 4 or 5, 6 hours maximum. And after 14 hours, we were still in there. So we'd completely run out of water, of food. People were getting a little bit nervous and angry. So we had to open the doors. Although the safety conditions were not possibly the best, but the people from safety allowed us to open the door and get some fresh blood into the bunker.
And how much time did you have for this?
Well, the specs said that we had 8 days between the first H0 and the next H0. We had 8 days to get it up and running again, new launch sequence included. 8 days is 192 hours. And we worked for 189 hours. So it meant we worked 24/7 with all of the unions pitching in, all of the people at the launch center, all of the people of Guyana. Everyone was behind this launch.
Tell us about the 24th of December 1979.
So on December 24th, 1979, of course, we had extended beyond the days that we had in theory, and we were stopped by a weather red light.
When do they stop talking?
And, of course, filling in with helium and so on was complicated. And then, of course, at the very last launch attempt, it's when we succeeded. There were no helium reserves, no liquid hydrogen, and then it took off. It was a real Christmas present.
And what did you feel at the time?
So we felt huge joy, a little bit like an athlete who reaches his last tether. So there were many tears around, I can't lie about it. A lot of tears, a lot of joy.
It was like a real family around you.
Yeah, absolutely, a family spirit prevails. And we reached an operational capacity after the first launch that we were supposed to have reached at L04. So we were 3 launches in advance, basically. We basically designed the modern real-time operational methods.
You were real space pioneers.
Yeah, we could say that we were space pioneers. And I
think we're
even
go
today's
for
people
weather.
are still pioneers for this flight. For instance,
What I
there's
heard.
the pioneering spirit.
So what would you tell a young aerospace engineer today?
What would I tell a young engineer? I'd say, believe in your job, because it's a fabulous job. You need to be confident in the future, and you need to be driven by the same family spirit.
Thank you so much, Guy, for sharing this moment of history today and telling us about this beautiful story.
Thank you, Lise.
Well, an inspiring gentleman, isn't he?
À 250 mètres du pas de tir.
A bunker 250 meters away from the launch pad. That would be unimaginable today. What I feel is a lot of respect for people like Guy, who gave birth to Europe's space industry, and it was really over those
we're red
10
again.
days that the
Dang
operating
it!
spirit was born, and something that's still in force today.
Thank you, Etienne. There's
I already said your name.
to Red. Over to Katie.
It's Meruel Edras.
40 years.
As
as Claude mentioned, if you look at the top right-hand side of your screen, you can see there that the countdown has turned red. That's because we have red means stop, and of course green means go. The flow of information here at the Ariane Space Center is made exactly for
And that's the weather.
We have the status panels, and it's all very normal. It means that the system is very much designed for this. Now, you'll probably see that the countdown will stop when we get to -7.
I already said your name twice, so stop.
Okay, so it's...
I'll give you a timeout or delete you again.
So the countdown has now stopped, and that's because this is the beginning of the synchronized sequence.
À tous de TDO, arrêt du décompte suite à un rouge lié aux conditions météo. Que tous les moyens restent prêts pour la reprise de la chronologie à 0-7 minutes en cas de retour au vert.
So the Range Operations Manager has just announced that the countdown has stopped because we have a weather concern. So I'm afraid there's nothing we can do about Mother Nature. She's not on our side tonight, and she wasn't yesterday, but let's see how things go. The launcher and the satellites are in safe mode.
We could see another 24 hours delay if they can't.
Launch window
If they
today of
won't,
1 hour
if they
and
don't see
45 minutes.
a
So we
whole
have
clear up
plenty
in
of time to see whether or not the weather
an
becomes
hour.
more clement. And if you look on the right-hand side there,
Oh,
you
it's
can
range
see these
too.
are our status panels. And Meteo is the one that's turned green. That is the weather. And I'm suspecting that we may be talking here about high altitude winds, but we'll wait to hear from the experts on that. So I'm going to come off air.
Okay,
for a
so
short
it's
while,
weather
we'll
and
stay in touch with
range,
you
so
and let you know what's happening. And
I gave
how
you
the teams are
moderator
getting on
power,
as soon as we
Simon,
get
so
any
that's what
information.
happened.
But for now, I'm going to cut them
And I
off.
can do
Wait
that
for more
with just one click, so I just did because you're the person that's more in the chat most often, so that's what I did. I gave Simon moderator powers, and Parthenis has them. I didn't give Matt some, but you have moderator powers now, so you can delete people if they're annoying. I don't. So yeah. How do I yield it? Wield it, yield it. I think wield it. Okay, what's happening with my timeline? Okay. I don't know how it works on mobile, but on my laptop I have like the 3 dots behind the name. You can probably click them, or just click the name, and then you can report, delete, give somebody a timeout, or hide the user. That's what I'm gonna do, by the way. Give him a timeout. Yep. But looking at it, it might be that it's thunderstorms. Hold up, we can check this. I can go to windy.com and I'll drag it in here. No, I want to make it smaller so we can still see the live stream. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna drag this to the launch base. Hold up. So what she said was high altitude wind, which is around about 10 kilometers, 13 kilometers somewhere. Yeah, it could be like this portion. But looking, let's see if there is rain and thunder. Looking at it, it might be a bit of rain, a bit of thunder. I want to zoom in. You're on it. Well, you're one of the most loyal persons that watch me, actually. So yeah, well, you deserve this. Ooh, yeah. Tiny bit of rain, thunder, thunderstorms. Which does. Yeah, maybe it's rain, maybe thunder, maybe just a lightning bolt within the vicinity. That's why probably the range is red, because they have the same thing in Florida. When you have within a certain range of the launch pad, if there's a lightning strike, because if you look behind the Ariane 5, you see a giant cloud, so that might be part of it, or it might also be just the upper altitude winds. because normally you would only see like the weather turn red because the launch authorization is the range, so the range has gone red. But if that is because of the weather or because there's something else, I don't know. Because from what I can remember, when we had weather delays earlier, you would only see the weather go red instead of the weather and the range. I'll hop on Twitter. I'll ask what is happening. But both satellites are still healthy, which is... Yeah, I think the range is red because the weather is red. Oh, from Dutch Space. If you don't follow me on Twitter, follow him. He has the most recent. He has inside information probably, but he says it is upper level winds. So that could be that tiny pluck we saw. Hold up, let me pull it up again. This. So if you go to wind and then upper altitude wind, it might be this little thing here. So let's move on an hour. Does it clear up or does it get worse? Let's see. It clears up, so we might have a launch at the end of the window, which is long. The window today is an hour and 45 minutes long. So the latest they can launch is, I believe, 22:43 UTC. So if I'm correct. So yeah, we'll have to see if they can get an improvement. Oh, okay. Yeah. Quick 7-minute shower. Yeah, it's fun. Okay, I'll respond to Twitter. Make a boat. Well, see, the range went green again, so there were two problems. Oh, hi, Hitura. Waar legt men de klemtoon? Oh, weather went green. Hey, party. Now we have a launch party, hopefully, or it's just a bug, but weather went green. Just me cheering when weather goes green. And the clock went green. I think it might just be a different thing. Hello? I was happy, but now I'm not sure. It could be that they are resetting the things, and they're like, okay, we'll have a 24-hour delay. I hope not. Oh, no. No.
Suite au retour au vert des moyens météo, le nouvel âge zéro-visé est 21h23 00. Le temps des comptes, on redémarrera à 21h16 00.
So that is...
So we heard there from the Range Operations Manager
9 minutes,
telling
okay,
us
yeah.
that we now have a new launch time. So we have, if you look at the top right hand side of your screen, you can see that the countdown clock has turned green again, and we will be resetting the clock for 21 hours 23 minutes. That is in Universal Time, or Greenwich Mean Time, as we like to say
it
in
is
the UK. And the countdown clock will start 7 minutes before the launch time, because, as I was explaining earlier, the synchronized sequence is a sequence that is automated, and it needs to be gone through from beginning to end.
Yeah, Trevor and John will be happy,
so,
hopefully.
We had
I hope they get
a halt
nice
in the
images.
countdown for anyone who's just joining us and who missed that. We're looking here at the lovely shot, actually. This is not the actual Ariane 5. That was a model just outside the Jupiter Mission Control Center.
I just copied the link for
the real thing.
The thing.
But here we're looking at the inside of that Mission Control
for
Center,
the
and the operational teams there who have now
model, because if you keep watching, you're gonna get this model from Alfonso Early.
And here Ariane 5 and its passengers waiting patiently on
Their
the
pre-launch
pad.
pictures are always incredible. I love them. The only thing I wish that we had a launch site in the Netherlands, so I could make these pretty pictures too. But well,
de la séquence finale lanceur. Le nouvel âge zéro visé est 21h23 00 TU. Je répète, le nouvel âge zéro visé est 21h23 00 TU.
Okay, so he has now announced the.
Yes.
He's reset
there
the
we
clock.
Go.
He has
no red, please.
The countdown sequence. The synchronized sequence has now begun. The synchronized sequence is the last 7 minutes of the final countdown. The final countdown actually started 9.5 hours ago. Now, the people watching over these operations are in the Launch Control Center. And
the 250th Ariane launch campaign started last September 5 at the Launcher Integration Building. The main cryogenic stage and the two solid rocket boosters were first assembled on the launch table, and then the cryogenic upper stage was mated onto the main stage.
What's wrong with the synchronized voice?
The launch vehicle was transferred to the final assembly building. The launcher preparation was completed in the same building, setting up the links between the launch vehicle and launch table, finalising the assembly of thermal protections, flight cells and batteries while the pyrotechnical lines were being armed. Then came the highlight when the mission's 2 passengers were hoisted on board.
The launch campaign had just started with the arrival of TIBA-1 at the Félix-Éboué airport, October 16. It has been transferred to the payload preparation facility in S5C, South High Bay. Inmarsat GX5, the lower payload, has landed at Félix-Éboué airport on October 24 and was transferred directly to the S5C payload facility for unpacking. Combined operation with the launcher have started for TIBA-1 on November 7th by its flight mounting on the payload adapter. Then it was transferred to the base building, hoisted onto the Ariane dual launch structure, so-called SILDA, and encapsulated under the fairing on November 12th. For Inmarsat GX5, combined operation with the launcher had begun on November 9th, with its flight mounting onto the payload adapter. After transfer to the BAF, it was hoisted onto the launcher and encapsulated under the SILDA and the fairing on November 13th.
It's such a huge building where they encapsulate the
launcher on both satellites was performed
rocket.
last Monday with all tracking stations that will be involved in the final chronology on the flight.
Yesterday's operations at D-1 consisted in the transfer of the launch vehicle to the launch zone. Today at D0, the operations will gradually gear up the launcher for liftoff. At the end of the chronology, during the last 7 minutes, a fully automated sequence run by the launch base computers will fine-tune the launcher's configuration before handing over control to the onboard computer. At H0, the onboard computer sends the ignition order to the Vulcan engine, and some 7 seconds later to
So
the
if something goes red
which will unleash
in under 14 seconds, so when the arms retract, we'll have a delay of more than 24 hours.
To thank our customers, their manufacturers, and all the team involved in the satellite's preparation campaign that will lead to the Ariane 5 launch 250, roughly 40 years after the first Ariane launch in French Guiana.
Because
So those are all the operations that have been going on in the last couple of months, all leading up now to this point, a few minutes before launch, 3 minutes before launch, and the teams watching over all these operations are in the Launch Control Center, which is about 3 kilometers from the pad, not 250 meters like the first Ariane that we heard about earlier. About 100 or so people in here, and they're dealing with all the systems concerning both the launch vehicle and the launch zone. They started their preparations months ago, but right now their job is to make sure that Ariane is ready for takeoff. And they're monitoring all the events during this final phase now of the synchronized sequence.
Everybody that just joined, I can see how many people are joining. But yeah, launch.
There we
yes,
have Ariane,
exciting.
the satellites inside the top of the launcher there, waiting for liftoff. Nice and comfy. Got their air conditioning in first class with their seat belts on. Coming up to 2 minutes now, getting close. This is a good shot here of the cryogenic arms clamping to the upper stage of the launch vehicle. They feed liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen into the upper tanks, and to keep hydrogen and oxygen as a cryogenic fuel, to keep it cold, we have to keep the hydrogen at minus 253 and the oxygen at minus 150 Celsius, very cold. Everybody coming out of the control center now to watch the launch with their own eyes from the viewing balconies on each side of the control center.
There we go.
This is the mission control center.
1 minute.
About 15 kilometers or so from the pad.
À tous de DDO, attention pour moins 1 minute.
Please don't go red.
Top, à 0 moins 1 minute.
We are live at the Guiana Space Center, and 1 minute to the launch of TIBA-1, for Thalassalinia Space.
Some really dark clouds.
Space on behalf of the government of Egypt, and GX5 for the
Hi,
operator
Sean.
built by Thalassalinia Space.
So if something happens when the arms retract, there we have a 24-hour delay, but I hope not.
The best of luck.
But we're gonna have a nice shot again because the sun has already gone down. So let's go.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
top. Allumage vulkaan. Décollage. Yes, there we go. Ooh, pretty. The rumble in the jungle. Jungle roar. Oh, those are so pretty. No, I want to go there. I don't want to see it once. And this is carrying 10.5 tons to GTO. Imagine. This is 700 tons, so going. That's why. This is why I love rockets.
Well, that is a spectacular sight. Ariane 5, flight number 250, the 250th Ariane vehicle to launch from the pad here at the Guyana Space Center, blazing a trail across the equatorial skies.
A minute and 10 seconds left, and this phase of the flight.
Flying supersonic, faster than the speed of sound.
There we go.
And the vibrations are reaching us here at the Guyana Space Center.
Switch back! No! I want to see the camera! Yeah, there we go. That one.
We're flying out east across the
Ooh, look at the trail lighting up. It's so pretty.
TIBA-1 and GX5 have started their journey.
There we go. We have 40 seconds remaining of SRB powered flight.
Right now, the boosters are doing all the work. They're those two big solid tanks.
25. Haha, voice crack. Yeah, sorry.
Launcher,
20 seconds left.
once they burn their propellant,
So, 15.
separate and fall away.
10.
You might be lucky enough to see that.
5 seconds. And 1. Should separate right now. There you go. Separation. Ooh.
And we could just see them back there.
Those aren't live images. Those are from
big
ATV5.
boosters. Those two dots we saw moving away there, we can see
Supersonic, faster than the speed of light.
the dot in the middle is the Vulcan engine on the main stage. And the two lights on either side are the boosters.
You're allowed to post
we don't
like
need them anymore.
haha voice crack.
Propellant and
It
we
was
are
true.
shedding
It was
weight.
a voice
That's
crack.
the name
But
of the game.
that's what happens when I get enthusiastic. So yeah, sorry.
Were propelling us away from our Earth's gravity.
But the two dots falling away are the boosters, and the one in the the most right one is the core stage Vulcan engine.
106 kilometers high and
it's lagging behind a tiny bit, so we might see the core stage burning for a tiny bit longer. But this is normal. This is just the SRBs
and we
underperforming.
have confirmation there that the fairing has now separated, and look how those parts flex. It's called the breathing mode. It's all part of the plan. We don't need
past the Kármán line. Yeah, where you go.
Because we are
drop off
technically
the fairings.
in space, and our satellites can be exposed to space now because there's no longer any friction, and the captain has switched off the seatbelt signs. Everything's going normally. Bottom right hand side, we can see the speed is 263 kilometers
it's lagging
per second.
A bit behind, but
per hour,
I think that's
per second. We will
That
be
also
getting
could be
faster
because
and
of
faster
the
and heading towards speeds of
added
above
time
9
to
kilometers
the
per second
launch
later.
T0. So,
Top right hand side is our trajectory.
but it's coming up. It's getting closer. What I think is
Cross is the actual
I'll pull
position
this
of
up.
our launch vehicle, and the
I don't
trajectory
have
is
enough
our
time.
planned
I think it's
trajectory.
8 minutes and 53 seconds
Everything's
that
going according
the
to plan.
that's supposed to be
Everything is
the
phenomenal.
separation
You can see
time.
there in the front is our first satellite, which is going to be separated. TIBA-1.
Or the like
You can
the
see it there for the first time.
you know what I mean. Like the first stage shutdown. I think it's gonna be
Find out a little bit more
1 or
about
2
that
seconds
TIBA-1
later
in
because
this
of
film.
the slightly delay of the lack of speed.
Assalamu alaikum. Merhaba bikum fi Guyana. My name is Valérie Boucher, and I am the TIBA-1 Program Director at Ariane Space. My work mainly consists in interfacing with the customer and in preparing the mission for TIBA-1. TIBA-1 is a civil and government telecommunication satellite for Egypt. It was developed.
Oh, it's supposed to be 8 minutes and 41 seconds. So I think it's gonna burn for slightly longer due to the slightly underperformance of the SRBs. So yeah.
Whereas Airbus is responsible for the Eurostar 3000 platform. Airbus is Ariane Space direct customer for this mission. Ariane Space and Airbus has developed a fruitful cooperation since the creation of the European Launch Service Provider in 1990. The satellite will be owned and operated by the government of Egypt. It will be the fourth satellite launched by Ariane Space for Egypt. On behalf of Ariane Space, I would like to thank Airbus, Thales Alenia Space, and the government of Egypt for their confidence. And I wish all the best to TIBA-1. Hasai TIBA-1.
And our next satellite to be released is GX5 for Inmarsat. Can't see it right now because it's hidden inside the
So 2 more minutes of powered flight. Yeah, and it is making some wiggles, so it's definitely correcting for something.
1981 with the Marex series. We're going to get a closer look now at the most advanced satellite in Inmarsat's GX fleet.
Inmarsat is a faithful customer of European industry. Thales Alenia Space is the prime contractor of GX5. This satellite is based on a heritage platform, well known by Ariane Space. Several satellites of this type have already flown on Ariane 5. GX5 was assembled and tested in Canada.
Yeah, they need to show live images from the rocket. That would improve their coverage quite a bit.
It will support mobile communications over Europe and the Middle East. Inmarsat and Ariane Space contracted the launch of GX5 end of 2017. In the meantime, several meetings were held to prepare the mission and the satellite operations in Ukraine. All interfaces between GX5 and Ariane 5 were duly documented and approved by all parties. This includes the detailed sequence of events on the day of the launch.
Hello from Little. Hi from Africa. Hi from Africa. What? Hi. Welcome. Well, I'm in the Netherlands, so that's good morning for you.
Ariane Space CNES and Ariane Group
Good morning.
a successful mission.
Yeah, we have 30 seconds left. So I expect it will be delayed by a few seconds because the thing is slightly slower.
On the northeastern coast of South America.
And flight abort will be awesome.
Out across the Atlantic, across
13
Africa,
December.
and along the equator.
Okay, cool.
The launch is sending signals back to Earth during its flight, and we have a network of stations along that flight path.
1 shutdown.
In constant watch, if you like, over the health of the systems.
Yeah, it was slightly longer.
Of the main stage, and the upper stage has now switched its engine on.
And you can see it is the cross is now moving into the circle. So if you're wondering what I'm looking at, if you look at the top
previous flight showing us what it
right,
looks like when the main stage is jettisoned.
yeah, it is right for you guys.
So you're looking here now at the upper stage is the white
If I
disc.
point at it,
The
it
black
looks the
structure
other
is
way
what we
because
call
it's
the
mirrored. But
cylinder.
top
That's,
right corner, you have
protection
two lines. You have a
mechanism for the
green
socket
line and a
underneath it.
yellow
Today
line.
it's
The yellow
GX5.
cross is the actual
also
data, and the
allows us to
green
attach
line with
the
the
satellite
circle
in
is
front.
what
It
it's
makes the
expected to be. And if you
dual launches possible.
look at the start of the flight, it was slightly lagging
And
behind, and
we're
it
really
made up
entering
for
now
that
the
by
next
burning
phase
the
in
core
this
stage for
flight
slightly
because
longer.
the upper stage has taken the wheel, and its engine is going to burn for about 16 minutes.
And right now it's going to do a little dip and then pull out at the
nominal, it's
dive.
normal. TIBA-1 is owned and operated by the Egyptian government.
I hope this isn't copyrighted music. I've edited with a few streams where the audio from the from the actual clip was deleted. Matt Lonka, yeah. It's outrageous they did it to him. He got it from the YouTube library, and that the YouTube library decided to remove a song and copyright it again, but then it leaving people that you had used it for years, leaving them with the song being so claiming the right to revenue of their videos. So yeah. Yeah. YouTube sucks sometimes. It's a great platform for this, for streaming, but as soon as you want to earn money from it, yeah, it doesn't work. Well, sorta. I don't really mind because I'm not getting any money from YouTube anyway. Yep, internet. Space internet. Starlink. This makes me think of Starlink, but I'm not gonna talk about Starlink because, well, a lot of people know what they think about it. I'll talk about it at the end. People want me to talk about Starlink, but yeah. There we go. Dropout of signal. Should be coming back soon. Attention subject, yeah, well. I like the idea, but the execution
Well, that gives you a real sense of just how important this satellite is.
The execution needs more attention.
TIBA-1 is the fourth satellite which Arianespace has launched for Egypt. The previous ones were Nilesat. And we're just hearing there now that we're picking up the signal at the Ascension Island tracking station, and that the propulsion is normal. Ascension Island is a tiny volcanic island in the South Atlantic. It's halfway between South America and Africa. I believe that NASA had a station there until 1989.
There we go, we're starting to pull up from the dive, so go, go, go.
Airbus Defence and Space and Thales Alenia Space built TIBA-1.
They're learning on the fly.
Prime contractors.
Yeah.
They've created an advanced satellite.
With a TIBA-1 satellite, Egypt takes its place amongst the big players in space, as its new satellite is a jewel of advanced technology. It will give Egypt a dual-use civil and government telecommunication system that is extremely efficient and secure in K-band.
Everything is still
latest
normal.
Digital payload.
Let's go.
And antennas technologies. This program had ambitious objectives, both in terms of performance and technical challenges. These were met thanks to the extended cooperation.
Yeah, they
and
do have a
trust
reputation
between
for
the
learning
Egyptian
really
customer
quickly.
team and the French industrial
But
team, Thales Alenia
I
Space and
feel
Airbus.
like they're
On behalf
pushing
of
it a
this
bit too
industrial
hard.
consortium, I would like to thank the government of Egypt for the confidence in us and the quality of our great cooperation. We are committed to standing side by side and every step of the way. I also want to thank the French authorities for their continuous support all along this program.
Because we know what happens
very
when
best
SpaceX
for
pushes
TIBA-1.
really hard. A bit too hard, I mean.
TIBA-1 is the first dual telecommunication satellite for the government of Egypt. It is a particular honor for Airbus to build this satellite and its ground segment together with Thales Alenia Space. We know the vital importance of this program for the national security and the sovereignty of Egypt, as well as for your economic development. I would like to thank the government of Egypt for their trust in Airbus and our highly reliable Eurostar 3000 platform. We hope that it opens the door for future collaboration between our countries. I would also like to convey my thanks and recognition to the Airbus teams and of course to our partner Thales Alenia Space, who provided the satellite payload. This also is an opportunity for me to warmly congratulate the government of Egypt for the high level of collaboration and professionalism of the Egyptian managers and teams who have shown incredible dedication and involvement in the preparation of the service
let's
operations.
see what
It's
the
now time for me
timeline says
to wish
next.
TIBA-1 a successful launch and a long life in space.
25 minutes and 7 seconds. So, just under 9 minutes. Just pre-precision, my likes. So, yeah.
Cooperation there between the two aerospace giants of Europe to make some superb satellites today. And if you look at, he says everything's normal. Top right hand side of your screen, you can see the trajectory there. We call that the roller coaster effect. When you can see that we were climbing high into space, then we've dropped a little bit of altitude, and then we start climbing higher again. That's because before we were using all our power to get away from Earth. Now we're going to be using it to be able to start speeding up. So
that's
we can
not
climb
really
higher
true,
and
but
higher later. Flight. So let's turn our attention now to our second passenger, Inmarsat's GX5. It's a hugely advanced satellite for mobile broadband, and it's going to deliver greater capacity than the whole of Inmarsat's existing GX fleet. A word from their CEO now, Rupert Pearce.
As we enter the era of an always-on, hyper-connected world, we can clearly see that connectivity now empowers human potential as never before, and that connectivity can flatten the world by bringing us together. In our 40th anniversary year, we at Inmarsat can be very proud of the role we're playing in building and underpinning this emerging global digital society. Global Express represents the gold standard for global mobile broadband communications and is deployed by thousands of users in the air, at sea and on land. Already, Inmarsat's maritime GX service, Fleet Express, has been installed on more than 7,000 vessels. And 27 leading airlines have signed up for our aviation GX service, GX Aviation, to provide broadband connectivity to their passengers, while more than 600 business jets have adopted our business aviation GX solution, Jet Connects. We're very proud that these GX services are empowering a transformation in these enormous trillion-dollar sectors, including making the maritime and aviation industries more efficient and effective, but also greener and safer. The first 4 GX satellites were launched to deliver seamless global coverage, plus in-orbit redundancy. Today, the terrific initial success of our new GX services are driving us to a second phase of network evolution, as we now look to augment our capabilities to meet huge growth in demand from our customers, as well as keep GX well ahead of our current and future competition. Indeed, the launch of our 5th satellite in the GX fleet represents a step change advance in the capabilities of our GX services to meet the growing demand for aviation passenger connectivity.
This is also why I hate
commercial maritime
the
services
Ariane space
across Europe and the Middle East.
launch streams.
Delivering a
But
bandwidth increase
you already
is
know
greater
that.
than the combined capacity of our entire existing GX fleet, marking the start of an unprecedented enhancement in the overall capacity and capabilities of the GX network. Because we're not stopping here with GX5. Inmarsat is planning to launch a further 7 GX payloads over the coming 4 years. So the future looks incredibly exciting for Inmarsat, our partners and our customers. Et je tiens également à remercier nos partenaires Thales Alenia Space et Ariane
Lots
Space
of blah blah blah
pour
blah
leur
blah.
service extraordinaire d'innovation.
But yeah,
Le travail acharné.
stay
et
around.
l'esprit
You're gonna
de
get the
coopération.
models soon.
Wherever you are in the
You have
world,
to stick around.
thank you for coming with us.
I'll
on
put
this
it in the
journey.
chat.
Today marks another
It's a
significant
Dropbox
step
link,
forward
so
as we grow still further global mobile broadband connectivity for all, no matter where you are.
It's a changing world indeed, and teamwork is the name of the game. Now, look, you can see there.
he does a
stations
good
and our
job
flight
of
path
being
across our
excited.
planet. We lifted off from Galileo in French Guiana, and right hand side of the screen there you can see we've picked up a signal at the Libreville tracking station, which is now tracking us, and we're heading out across Africa. We crossed the Atlantic in 20 minutes. It's pretty impressive, and we're climbing higher in altitude now, and the trajectory is nominal. GX5 is the 5th satellite
Hi, Alfonso.
in the Global Express
Welcome.
fleet, and it was built by the men and women at Thales Alenia Space.
This launch today is very special for us because we are
He is
involved
excited.
in both satellites aboard Ariane 5. Everyone at Thales Alenia Space feels personally involved in today's mission with a great sense of pride. It is a great honor for Thales Alenia Space to have built the most powerful Global Express satellite to date that will meet the surging demand for high-capacity broadband across Europe and the Middle East. GX5 will play an important role in the dynamic growth of the Global Express network for Inmarsat and will significantly increase its existing capacity for aviation and maritime services. It is fitted with powerful state-of-the-art Ka-band technology and benefits from the extensive experience from Thales Alenia Space in very high throughput satellites. At Thales Alenia Space, we have been working with Inmarsat for more than 10 years now, and this fruitful relationship started with Inmarsat EAN. We are committed to continue supporting Inmarsat in its continuing growth by delivering satellites with outstanding performance. Congratulations to all the teams who have worked so hard on this mission. We wish Inmarsat and its customers the very best.
There we go.
For today's launch.
2 more minutes. I said 25 minutes and 7 seconds, so that's
And we are now 23 minutes, coming up to 24 minutes into that launch.
Okay.
And we're in the range now of the tracking station
1 minute and 20
Malindi.
seconds.
That's in Kenya, on the east coast of
no.
Africa. So the guys and girls there will be monitoring the separation of our satellites.
1 minute.
We've crossed
10.
Africa, and we'll be heading out across the Indian Ocean.
1 minute.
And he's telling us that the propulsion
1 minute left in the burn.
It's all going well. So how does Ariane know what to do and when? Well, the upper stage has a brain, the intelligent part. We call it the vehicle equipment bay. And it's more than an onboard computer, really. It's a whole management system, and it analyses information from the engines, the navigation, etc., and it makes decisions for the best outcome of the mission. Right now it's getting ready to switch off the engine. It'll send the cut-off command when it senses that the launcher is correctly orientated. It's going to need to be on track, so going in the right direction. And on time. The computer knows that it needs to fly from 0 seconds to its cut-off time, so it also has to be at the right altitude, of course, and travelling at the right speed. And there you have it. This is the scheduled moment for us to switch the engine off rather.
There we go.
And we have the confirmation there that we have now switched the engine off. So we're entering the next phase. It's called a ballistic phase. It means that we're coasting without
the barbecue
the engine,
phase.
So we are indeed on orbit and at the correct altitude.
We need to make a petition that they scrap
it means we're now
coast phase
but
but call it
phase,
barbecue phase.
which is to prepare to separate our satellites from the mothership. Got a couple of minutes to go until we're scheduled to separate our first passenger. Now these tracking
They should
stations
call it
that we
barbecue
can see along
phase.
the flight path are sending the information that they collect back here to what we call the CVI on a hill just behind us here at the Mission Control Center.
In the meantime, I'm
Quick
gonna
look,
pull up my
telemetry display
link.
control center.
Ooh,
And they
I already
receive
have
the
it. I
information
can hit
from the tracking
send, and then
stations,
you'll
where
get
they
one all.
process it and analyze it, and they report the flight status of the launcher back to the teams here in
But
Jupiter.
we'll have to wait
So they
until
make a quick selection to
separated.
check how the flight's progressing
Both
in real
of them.
time, and then
That
they
will
tell
have a
the range
successful
operations
launch.
manager
That's how it
when
works with
they
Ariane
have
space. so.
confirmation of the main events, so that
It's a
he
bit
or she
cheeky,
can
I
then
know.
announce them to the range.
But yeah.
Because later they can analyse the information to see how the vehicle performed and make any adjustments for future flights.
There we go. Oh, and why I call it a barbecue phase because
So
it starts
TIBA-1
rolling.
is our upper passenger,
So that's
the one at the
why
front,
it's called barbecue
and
phase.
it's due to separate in a matter of seconds now. We're going through a very precise set of manoeuvres. The upper stage is orientating the satellite so that it can release it onto a very precise orbit.
There we go,
This is the
separation.
scheduled moment
Hopefully.
for that separation. And we have confirmation there from the range operations manager that TIBA-1 has indeed
If you look at my
separated
video
from the
I did on the Ariane
mothership.
5, I separated them. I
So,
separated the Scylla and then I
congratulations to
almost
all the
collided the whole
TIBA-1
stage into the
teams.
satellite. Yeah, it was quite funny.
Now we have some applause there.
We can't applaud.
In the
No,
Mission
this is
Control
illegal. Hold up. Wait, that's
So
illegal.
TIBA-1 is on its way. Congratulations to everybody in Egypt, of course, and to
They
the
broke the
prime
rules.
contractors, Teleselenia Space, and
Shoot
and
their
Telesense
satellite
Space.
down.
But of
No.
course, we still have our other satellite attached, GX5. That's underneath the black structure. If you look at the right-hand side of the screen, you can see the black structure, the cylinder. Ah, here we go. There's a better shot of it there. It's underneath, so we can't actually see it right now, and we're going to need to release that cylinder before we can start the process.
Ah, I was working on a model
of
for that.
releasing
I need to
GX5.
finish that. Hold up, I'm gonna put that on my
It's gonna be
bucket
released
list to
in
do
about
this
6
weekend.
minutes or so.
Because I have the second
tracked
stage
Still by
thingy.
the Malindi teams, where you can see the sort of star. That's where we are heading out now over the Indian Ocean. And TIBA-1 is starting its new life. It needs to climb to 36,000 kilometers to geostationary orbit. before it can start delivering services. Various different things will have to happen to it over the next few days. Lots of testing. And here we have now the separation of the cylinder.
Du système de lancement double Ariane.
And confirmation there that it has indeed separated.
I put it in my
It moves
calendar,
away.
so yeah.
It was protecting GX5.
Because I have the second stage thing ready, so...
A tremendous amount of teamwork and challenges.
Making the Silda isn't that hard.
Hello, I am the TIBA-1 Program Manager for Airbus.
Hi, I am the TIBA-1 Program Manager for Thales Alenia Space. TIBA-1 program is the first communication space system for the government of Egypt. This space system consists of a Ka-band, dual-use civil and government telecommunication satellite and its associated ground segment with protected and secure ground satellite link.
So the separation will happen at 34 minutes and 7 seconds.
TIBA-1 satellite is designed and built in partnership between Thales Alenia Space for the payload and Airbus for the platform, which is a flight-proven and highly reliable Eurostar 6000 platform. The communication module was integrated by Thales Alenia Space and handed over to Airbus, who then drove the satellite integration and test phase. Many thanks to both industrial teams for their efforts on the program. TIBA-1 was shipped mid-October to the Centre Spatial Guyanais. Many thanks to the Ariane Espace team with the CSG and Ariane Group teams for the hard work for this launch. After the separation from Ariane 5, the Airbus teams in Toulouse will carry out the satellite launch and early orbit phase,
those
which
pictures
will
are
span
pretty.
over 1 week. It will be followed by the in-orbit test in December before the handover to our customer. I thank here very warmly the government of Egypt for its confidence and for the exchange always held in a good spirit.
Yeah, Geo is really crowded, yeah.
This program had ambitious objectives both in terms of performance and technical challenges. These were met thanks to the
Geo
excellent
is
cooperation
managed
and mutual
really
respect
well.
between the government of Egypt team and the French industrial team Thales Alenia Space and Airbus. I would like to thank all team members from Thales Alenia Space, Thales 6, Thales Egypt and Airbus who contributed to this major project for the government of Egypt. I would like to thank the government of Egypt for the quality of our great cooperation.
And now we all wish good luck to TIBA-1.
And Christophe Dallest happens also to be the son of Ariane Space's founder and its first president 40 years ago, Frédéric Dallest. So a nice tie-in there.
So many people clicked on my video,
You're
so
saying everything's normal.
at least I got
Building
the
an
clicks.
advanced satellite system is a feat of engineering and human endeavour.
It's going up.
The biggest
There we
challenges
go,
of this
separation
program
of-
were, first of all, the capacity to fit
Or it
such a
was
complex payload
34
in a relatively
minutes.
small spacecraft,
Did I?
allowing us to fly in Ariane 5 lower position.
Right.
There is not
Hold
a
on.
single location
I need to
unused
check
on the
this.
satellite
It was
body.
it was
The second one
34
was the
minutes.
schedule challenge.
For
With
some
the
reason I
delivery
thought
on the launch pad
32.
in 28 months, including a full-speed AIT sequence of 6 months. This required a lot of effort and dedication from all to reach this objective. I want to deeply thank both Inmarsat and Thales Alenia Space teams for this journey, as well as Ariane Espace for their fruitful cooperation all along this launch preparation.
After GX5 separation from Ariane 5, operation teams of Thales Alenia Space and Telespatio located in Cannes.
I think
and
people
Fukushima
click on this
devices
and see me
will
sitting
await
here
telemetry
saying nothing,
acquisition
but
to perform satellite health check and start
I don't want
follow-up
to
activities,
like talk
consisting
through
to,
everything.
First, setup of propulsion subsystem in flight configuration. Secondly, get power by moving satellite with solar array partially deployed
Here we
towards
go.
the sun.
A
And
minute
finally,
till separation.
Perform rehearsal of orbit raising maneuver, allowing to bring GX5 on geosynchronous orbit. This first operation will last by 8 hours. The duration of complete layup activities to bring GX5 at targeted longitude will last around 10 days.
Less than a minute now until the planned separation of our second passenger, GX5 for Inmarsat. Everybody concentrating hard. Obviously not just here at the base, but across the world, the tracking stations in Malindi, where the teams there are tracking these separation maneuvers.
7, 6,
and of course at
5,
Inmarsat,
4, 3,
where
2,
they're monitoring the satellite's
1.
health and progress.
Separation.
And of course getting ready to take on their new baby, start the process of flying their new satellite.
Séparation Inmarsat GX5.
And we have separation confirmed.
Now we can applaud. That's it. So, successful launch.
Of Inmarsat GX5.
Countdown. Okay, you're gonna get the link. 3, 2, 1. Get the model here. Ta-da! Copy
Her
this.
second passenger. Congratulations to everybody at Inmarsat. Best wishes as you take charge of your spacecraft. Happy faces here and jubilant smiles.
I'll update the description as well.
New satellites are born.
Pom pom pom.
A job
Yes,
very,
update this.
very well done.
There you go.
Lots of handshakes
Get your
and big slaps on the back, no doubt.
Ariane 5 from this
For
launch
some
here.
people, the work is done. Some people have worked for years to get ready for today, and for other people,
That
of
was
course,
a
the work's
first.
just beginning. The teams in the control centers are now taking charge
Well,
of their babies.
thank you for watching.
Monitoring
Without
those
you,
maneuvers.
there's no me, so...
Wishing them all the very best now for that. And of course, other teams will be able to relax this evening.
Well, don't go yet if you don't need to go, because I will talk about Starlink if you want me to. Like, quick, short, what I think about it.
Setting the podium for the speeches
I can stay,
that we
yes.
like to have after
Stay, please
the launches
stay.
and
No,
after the events.
I'm not gonna be desperate, but yeah. No, I'm not gonna watch the speeches afterwards. Sorry, guys. I hate those. So, well, I like them, but you get it. It's like, thank you for launching us. All that kind of bull crap. That's not really bullshit, but yeah. Okay, so Starlink. Oh, we'll go. Replays. Well, just go. Go. Okay, I'll watch it. Starlink. Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, they haven't done an albedo reduction, which I saw the like the trails. It already messed up a observation for dark matter, I believe it was. It was a wide field telescope, and 19 of the satellite crossed through the telescope field of view, so the exposure was basically ruined. That's one point, because for some telescopes they need a wide field of view to observe things. I don't really know how that works, but I know it is that's a fact. Well, the albedo reduction, they said they were going to do it, but then again they're pushing to increase the launch rate, while within the first 2 launches are the same satellite, so I don't see the point of telling you are going to improve without even improving at the first rate. So that's one. And 2, about I said something about pushing really hard with the Amos 6 failure. So the bad explosion of the Falcon 9. They knew that the solidification of the oxygen on the COPV was a thing. They knew this, and they still opted to go for it anyway and fix it later on. And then this happens. So, and it was also because they were pushing for Block 5 and more upgrades. It's a long time ago. I know they learned from this, but then we had the Starlink, and it almost collided with the... It was a miscommunication, I know, but it did have an almost collision. And right now, they only told us they would fix it. We have to take their word on it, okay. But with the increased launch rate, you're gonna have such a giant amount of satellites to manage at the same time. Plus, this isn't going to be cheap, because it's going to be 10,000 satellites in the first operational thing, I believe. So operating 10,000 of this 10,000 satellites is going to be expensive. That's for sure. And well, the one problem I have with it is it's a lot in a closed space, and if only, let's say, 1% fails from 10,000, that's still 100 satellites. That's 100 dead objects in orbit that stay there for 2, 3, 4 years, which is collision hazard. Well, the lower deployment orbits could fix it, but anyway, if they work fine for the first year, but then they fail, they stay up at 550 kilometers, and the ISS doesn't drop down within a year. But the ISS is much larger, so that's one more point. And these are 100 kilometers higher, so their orbit degrades like less quickly. But the point of putting them this low or this high-low, this is sort of a vague border, because it's not really low that they burn up really quickly, but it is also not that high. They stay up for tens of years. They stay up for, they said 2 years, but I think it's longer, because the ISS would stay up for 2 years if they didn't do like course corrections. But what I think is they could have done a better job at it by placing these satellites higher in a higher orbit. So they would have needed much less satellites, and adding to that, the satellites would go slower, so you would have less of a streak going across the sky, and they would be fainter because they were farther away. Yeah, their light spreads across. But still, I think the observation time or the observations for astronomers is going to be a big thing they need to fix. And then again, it's going to be a lot of objects in orbit, so that's what I'm worried about. And they justify this by saying, well, 3 billion people on the Earth don't have internet, but I don't think it's going to be that cheap, their internet, because it's just a lot to manage. It sucks up a lot of money maintaining this. Once they're in orbit, yes, the costs go down, but they did spend a lot of R&D on it, I think, or I assume they spend a lot of R&D on this. And with launching, the cost for SpaceX itself is lower, yes, but it is still at least 30 million per launch. It might be even closer to 40. So multiplying that by, or actually dividing that by 60, so the 10,000. I don't know what the size of the initial constellation was going to be. It was 10,000, right? Divided by 60. It's 167 launches. So if you do 167 times, let's say 30 million. No, that's not correct. I did divide. Sorry. Times 30. We'll get 5 billion in launch costs. Was it 3,000 initially? Well, okay. Let me do that. Redo that calculation then. So that will be 3,000 divided by 60. I could have done this in my head, but I'm too lazy for this. It's 50. 50 launches times 30 million. You still spend $1.5 billion on launching this constellation, which is, I think it's way too much objects, but besides that, on your sky being filled at dawn and dusk with starlings, but besides that point, I could live with satellites because I'm not really an astronomer, but I get the point of astronomers. But then you still spent $1.5 billion on launching this, plus the cost of installing dishes to get the receive the signals, plus the maintenance. Like you have a fixed cost per year for operating this. I don't think it's going to be that cheap, because, well, $10 billion with Starlink, well, per year. That's still a lot of money. So let's say, well, $10 billion, that's quite a lot they want to ask. Okay, they could work around it, but if they expect to generate 10 billion from it, let's say, like, well, the cost goes down with like everybody buying it, but you all 10 billion a year, well, not for the first years, I think, maybe. But besides their cost thing, I still don't think they should have gone with this many satellites, because the 3 billion people that need a connection to the internet, I don't want them to not get a connection to the internet, but right now with cheaper geostationary satellites, they could get internet. The only thing is there is a 200 millisecond delay. But my argument is that people that just got their first connection to the internet don't care about if their latency is 400 milliseconds or just 40 milliseconds. The only people that care about this is bankers. And that's what their money could come from. But then again, the risks of putting 10,000 satellites, so initially 3,000, but if 10,000 satellites into orbit, you're doubling with, at least you're increasing the amount of objects in orbit by 25%. I believe it was 50%. But I could be wrong. It's at least 25%. You increase the risk of collisions by quite a lot. And since there are quite a lot of dead objects in orbit, they need to move around this. So I expect there will be collisions of Starlink satellites, because they're not doing this, of course. Yeah, but then again, I think they should have just gone with higher orbit satellites. Same satellites, higher orbits, they would need less satellites, which reduces their cost of and launch and operating costs. And then astronomers would be probably wouldn't really care, because the if you put them in a let's say medium Earth orbit, so that is from 10,000 kilometers to 25,000 kilometers, somewhere in that range, the latency would be less as a orbital satellite, but you couldn't sell it to bankers. but my problem is like I don't understand why going so low. The only profit you get from it is lower latency, and we as regular users don't really care about the latency because right now the internet is going through cables underneath the sea, and we don't really notice the delay. And yes, some of them would still be upset, but the satellite in higher orbits would be less visible, and because you can't see GPS satellites, to be honest, you can't see GPS satellites, and the GPS satellites would be way bigger than the Starlinks. So, well, I believe you can see GPS satellite, but it's only around parts. I believe I saw one once, but I'm not. I couldn't find it if I actually saw it or not. I forgot to switch this, so hold on. Transition. But my problem is that if they would have put it up higher, they would have reduced the risk. They wouldn't have been in low Earth orbit. They would have been in a higher Earth orbit with less collision risk. Yes, there are photos of geostationary satellites. I know you can see them, but you can only see them in certain times of the year because of the solar angle. I know you can see them, but they're quite low on the horizon and they don't move. That's the main point of geostationary satellites. They don't move in the sky. That's the advantage of the geostationary satellite. They don't have to put them geostationary. I understand they want to put them lower but put them up higher so you need less satellites to cover the Earth, and then from there on you can provide internet to everybody. But you would need less satellites because the Iridium satellites cover the whole Earth with 77 satellites. And I think there's a giant difference between 77 and 3000. And it makes it easier to operate, so. And that's why I think the current Starlink is horrible. Because the photos I've seen from like it going over, it's really cool. I saw it outside and I thought it was really cool, but then it also like scared me. Polar regions aren't covered by geostationary satellites. Yeah, that's true. But those people also don't care about your latency being 40 milliseconds instead of 400. You could reach those with like satellites that are 2,000-3,000 kilometers up. And then with the ITS, you could say, or the Starship, you could say that if some of them die, tell it to Nokia. Well, you could reach them with polar orbiting communication or internet satellites. You could reach polar regions because the Iridium satellites are used for satellite phones, I believe. But they can be used on the poles because the Iridium satellites go over the poles. So if they would have employed something similar, I would have said, well, okay, yeah, well, I can see Iridium satellites anymore because they don't flare. But maybe it'll change with the albedo reduction. But then the question of orbital debris and orbital debris well, that's the main risk still. Because if you say only 1% fails, that's still 30 dead satellites in orbit. And depending on where they fail, if they fail in their initial release orbit, okay, fine, don't care. But if they fail higher up, they cross a lot of satellites, and some of these are really big and really dead. And if they are on a collision course with that, they can't change their course. So I think it's an unnecessary risk, and it could have been avoided by putting your satellites higher up. So you would have needed less satellites, which in turn would have reduced your operating cost. Yeah, I know, but I think, or like, the albedo reductions do cause complications with thermal management. I understand, but still, the satellites being so bright maybe could have been avoided by putting them way higher up, because they move slower. So yeah, well, and also the light gets scattered in a sort of circular shape. Well, it doesn't get behind the solar panel, I know, but with distance, the light getting reflected is also less. The intensity of the light gets less, so part of the problem could have been solved with that. And the high orbits, again, maybe the satellites could have been, they would have taken a lot longer to deorbit from there, but then again, with Starship, they might have gone and said, well, okay, we have one Starship mission, and we're gonna retrieve all failed satellites and swap them out with working satellites. That might have been a good show of the Starship, like launch it on a mission to swap out Starlink satellites. So yeah, because if you would have put them in, like, say, 2 to 6,000 kilometers, okay, that's still quite close. Starship could get there. Maybe it would have needed refueling. Well, okay, but you could have gone to each satellite, or at least in one shape. So let's say, how many satellites would you have needed? Yeah, it will take a while, but that's also the point of it. They're pushing so fast, and with the because in December they're supposed to be another Starlink launch, and they want it operational by the end of next year. So, or at least initial operations. So I think within, like, now and halfway next year, there isn't going to be a lot of difference, because the albedo reduction just complicates things for the thermal management. But instead of stopping there and fixing that first and saying, well, hey, astronomers, we listened, we acknowledge your concerns, we're gonna fix it, and we'll hold all the launches. Well, the competition is hot on their wheels. Which competition? I know Amazon is trying to do some shit, but then again, Blue Origin hasn't launched any rocket yet. And what constellation is closest? Well, Orbcomm, but Orbcomm isn't going to be fully operational until 2022. So taking a year or half a year to fix it, then launching everything really quickly. SpaceX has the quick launch capability is the positive thing SpaceX has. They're already in front, miles in front of the competition, because Starlink is going to succeed. I know. Well, SpaceX has succeeded with a lot of things, and I think Starlink is one of them, should be one of them, but I feel they haven't taken into consideration, or they haven't looked seriously to whatever they are doing, and well, okay, they look serious at what they're doing, but I think the orbital debris thing and the astronomers still or the astronomy queries still are valid, remain, and should be fixed before continuing. Plus, I feel that the governments, so either UN or individual large governments, should make regulations about what, where, and how many satellites they could put into orbit, because if SpaceX wants to put 40,000 satellites into orbit, what stops Apple from doing the same? What stops Amazon from doing the same? What stops some Chinese companies from doing the same? What stops European companies from doing the same? What stops... If everybody gets these 42,000 satellites into orbit, who's gonna stop them? And with 142,000 constellation, okay, danger's up. But with 10, 20 of these constellations, there are going to be collisions. There are going to be lots of collisions. So Kessler syndrome might be closer than you think. So I think we should figure out the regulations first before we do something. What stops them is launch availability. But, well, don't underestimate China. If they want to do the same thing, well, they're capable of doing it. And if you go via Russia, you could get quite a lot of Soyuz rockets pretty quickly. Because Russia has 4 launch sites they could launch from, so yeah. That's the main thing. But I still think, currently, I think Starlink is a bad idea. Until they change it, I still think it's a bad idea. At the moment. Not for the reasons, but for the execution. If that makes sense. You don't have to agree with me, but I think they could have done it differently, with so it would have been safer and not really more reliable, but yeah, well, but with well, saying that, Ariane Space could do it with the Ariane 6. Because they have shown some... They had demoed it with the launch of a multi-constellation thingy. Like a multi-satellite constellation. The demo video for the Ariane 6 is about that, so maybe. If the launch rate of the Ariane 5 and is being ramped up now, and the Ariane 5 is a harder rocket to to like make it work like this. I think I think they could do it, because yeah, Starship is going to be another thing if they yeah, but then again, wasting, they would need a lot of payload pairing, because the fuel for I don't know, I haven't seen launch costs, but launching one Starship is going to be more expensive than launching a Falcon 9. Not in cost per kilogram, but in total cost. So to get you can't just launch one satellite. You need to launch 3 or 4, maybe 5, to get a cheaper cost than for the Falcon 9. So you need to pair a lot of payloads, which is difficult, as shown by Ariane Space, because if one of these payloads has a tiny problem and needs to wait, all the other payloads need to wait. So that's why I think Starship isn't really going to be a viable launcher for, like, let's say, geostationary satellites. Maybe for low Earth orbit it's going to be better, but I think Falcon 9 is going to fly for longer than you would think, just because the launch cost of it is so low compared to other rockets. But yeah, well, that's enough about me talking about space. Well, 2 million? 2 million. That's nah. I think it's gonna be more expensive. 2 million would sound right for only fuel cost, but then again, Falcon 9's fuel cost is $200,000. So, and the whole vehicle still costs 40 million when you go reusable. So 2 million. Maybe, because it will be low in launch cost per kilogram, but let's see, let's see. SpaceX Starship. Okay, I'm just seeing if I can get. Yeah, he said that fuel cost for the Starship will be $900,000, and that total launch cost could drop as low as 2 million. Maybe with a lot of reuse, but first flights for the first few years aren't gonna be that low. With all the development costs, I don't think so. But they could get away with launching 5 satellites for 10 million each. Maybe more. Because the payload to orbit is massive, so then they can just pair a lot of satellites, say, hey, we're gonna launch you with 10 million, a fixed 10 million cost to go to orbit still is cheap, and so eventually it could drop to 2 million, but not in the first attempt. But yeah, enough. It's almost been 2 hours. Let's go up to 2 tons. I didn't mention a low the $20 a kilogram, but it doesn't say it anywhere. It's lower, but because right now it's 10,000 per kilogram. I think that is the cheapest. Oh, yeah. They wanted for Starlink. They want 12,000 satellites by 2026, and that's 6 times the operational objects in orbit. Well, yeah. Well, I like doing this. So probably maybe this weekend. Well, it's last Formula 1 weekend, so maybe I will. Yeah, the model. Yeah, Alfonso approached me with this. I quite like the idea, so it might be more often to pull people in, stay here for me, and then I'll give them the model, because, well, they have to stay to get this. But yeah, well, thank you for watching, and I will need to put my finger on this. But yeah, thank you for watching, and maybe I'll see you this weekend in a stream. I think I'm gonna try and do some KSP, so some building. But yeah, in the meantime, there is another launch tomorrow, tomorrow morning, and the 28th, so Thursday morning. Thursday morning, I might stream it. I don't know yet, because I can sleep and watch it from my bed, or I can stream it at 9 o'clock in the morning, but I don't have to be at school till 11:30, so meh, well, thanks for the power. Yeah. Yeah, oh, thanks for the power, now I get it, yeah. Well, you're welcome. Yeah, I think that's it. So maybe Electron launch, definitely KSP stream. Yeah, see you, and thank you for watching. See you later. Bye. Come on, end it. Bye. Yeah, bye.